this event, I'm also going to be running Catherine for you guys in probably about 10 seconds. All right. Let's go in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so this is probably going to be one of the crazier looking speedruns you will ever see. This is a one-player, two controllers run, meaning that there are two players going at once on screen. I'm controlling both of them with separate controllers. Normally this is intended to be done with two people, but I got good enough to do this by myself. So the first stage we're doing is Halter. There's 4 stages. Each one kind of has their own little theme. This one's theme is kind of the tutorial. Like, it's teaching you what Babel technically is. And what it is it's this mode where you have randomized blocks that fall from the top. And you have to kind of react to the patterns and climb. And I almost killed myself there, which was been fun. I do not know what patterns are going to come. I can't do anything but react to what the game gives me. There are a couple points where the game is going to be nice to me, and I just killed myself. Wow, okay.
That's right, you can afford that death.
I can afford a very short
That's the only death you can afford.
So when I was making the schedule, I gave myself like the ultimate try-hard estimate of 30 minutes. For reference at SGDQ, I actually have an estimate of 35 minutes. So I said I have to do this basically deathless, and of course I die on the very first stage doing something dumb like that. But yeah, so I have this completely random stage layout. I have to react to it as I go. It's incredibly, it's something like you will never clear this level on your first try. It takes quite a few tries to even clear this, let alone try to go fast. Originally, it wasn't something I ever took seriously. I just wanted to play the video game, so I threw a timer on screen and said, oh, dude, I'm going to do Catherine speedruns, and I'm going to do Babel, because I don't really enjoy the story mode. It's really funny to say this as a speedrunner, but there's not enough RNG in it for me. It's 2 hours, and you can do the entire thing basically blindfolded, so I kind of went with what I thought was the more fun way of playing the video game, which is Babel. As Spike said, I will actually be doing this at SGDQ, but since you guys have been good, you guys get this run a little bit early. So right here, this is one of those parts I was talking about where I have kind of a set pattern. I know exactly what's going to happen at that thing, or at that point in the stage. So if you look in the top right, you'll see the level counter. Every stage of Babel goes from levels 1 through 10, 10 being the last level. Each level influences the pattern of blocks that are going to fall from the sky. There's like, I want to say 4 or 5 on each one, or each level that can fall. So you might think, oh, well, it's not that random then, but since I can't control what they're falling on top of, what they land on completely changes what actually happens with what falls. Shoutouts to heavy blocks. Oh, and shoutouts to a couple inputs.
Man, shoutouts to new record.
This is like the best speedrun ever because it's just constantly new records.
It's constantly making you feel better about yourself.
I thought at first, like when you first do this, you're like new record, new record. It's like, oh, it's like counting up like all your other runs. Nope, it just says that every time you go one step higher. It's actually like somewhat useful because it lets you know if you are actually progressing sometimes. Sure. Sometimes you can collapse the tower to the point where it's just no longer recognizable and you actually will be a lot lower than your highest previous step point. So here right there, we're at level 10, which means the music changes, it spawns the end gate, and we are going to hopefully not get totally screwed over on this top part. Sometimes you get just completely screwed over with how this top part spawns, but looks like we're going to be good here. And that's actually a good time. Like, even factoring in the death, that was probably faster than my little practice run I was doing in the background over there. So, as you can see, that's only about 6 seconds off my PB for that stage, and I've done that stage a lot. Okay, so that's Halter. That's our little warm-up. That's a baby stage. This is when the game starts to actually get difficult. So, the theme of Menhir, which is the next stage, is giving you not a lot to work with. So it's going to be a very thin tower. So Halter is about 6 blocks wide. Menhir starts about 3 blocks wide. 3 is the bare minimum number of blocks you really need to have in order to have like a steady footing to be able to actually build. So probably one of the coolest things with this game is that there's actually another 2-player mode called or versus mode, and it's actually like super fun and like super easy to get competitive into. So if you ever look up or get the chance on our board, go on YouTube and search Evo Catherine. Atlas sponsored an official Catherine tournament last year during Evo, which I was one of the commentators for. My commentary was terrible. I was just yelling the entire time and just being stupidly hyped because I'm at Evo doing commentary for Catherine. Like, it's an understandable reaction, but hopefully we get a chance to do something similar this year. That way I can finally dethrone Dacidro, who is basically undefeated in competitive Catherine since the game's release. I came super close at SGDQ to taking him out in Grand Finals. We got to Game 5, but just barely managed to clutch it out over me. So you see, I'm really trying to work with these blocks and trying to keep this tower from getting any thinner. And you notice it's starting to slowly build out because I'm not losing any blocks on the sides. That's really important because, again, it gives me that room to work with. And in general, having room to work with is going to increase the speed at which I'm going. This has actually been a really solid Manir. Manir is a really fun stage because it's almost entirely execution. There is RNG, of course, but so much of this is based on, okay, doing those catch strats where you'll see, like, Vincent will pull the block out and then Catherine will pull it to catch a block on the side that was being held up by it. I love doing this section. It's so fun. It's always a bit scary. I'm a bit shakier with the fight stick than I am with the DualShock for a variety of reasons. The biggest one is that I just don't focus on it as much. So anytime I go over a spike block with stick, I'm always a bit nervous. But right there, we're looking pretty solid. Up. How you doing over there, Spike? Yeah!
Just watching chat's reaction to the run.
Is it just like nothing but tryhards or PogChamps?
It's just new record, new record.
Couple edges mixed in there, I'm assuming? Yeah, let's do this. So you'll notice that there's different types of blocks. Ooh, that's not smart. Let's do this. We're going to collapse that left side a little bit down. Okay, we'll figure it out. We'll do it live. Okay, cool. So you have those crack blocks, which I can only step on twice, which is very problematic considering 2 people need to step on each of them. You have spike blocks where if you stand still on those, when they first do that, they will just instantly kill you. It's quite glorious, especially when, as you'll see in the next stage. Those are the only... you'll also see heavy blocks, which are the ones that have 100 kilograms written on them. Surprise, surprise. Those take a lot longer to pull. It's not as big a deal in 2 players just because I can do stuff while whatever the character is pulling out the heavy block. It's almost kind of refreshing. Gives me a second to think and not make dumb decisions like I did there. Okay, so I'm going to go around the outside of this. Just a little bit easier to deal with.
90 steps ascent. New record. New record.
Okay, let's do a double collapse here. So, fun fact, I actually PB'd on this stage in practice a little bit earlier, so...
That's the 446 we see?
Yeah, the 446. I'm also 10th on the world leaderboards for this stage, even though I don't have a partner. Which is kind of... I'm 10th on this stage, 9th on the next, and 8th on the last, so... If we had a bunch more stages, I would eventually get the world record, I guess. Actually, shout-outs to the world record holder, Color Thief, who actually did the Tetris Grandmasters display at AGDQ, I guess 2 years ago. He had the incentive to do each of them one-handed. He has a partner that he does this with at a stupidly high level, and it is terrifying if you watch him do it. He's also the only person I've ever seen able to complete all these stages very quickly by only himself. Interestingly, he actually uses 2 fight sticks that he sits on a table in front of him and controls with that instead of using a DualShock. There's a slight advantage to using a DualShock in that I have access to a right stick for camera controls. So we're at the top of Manir, so this is a pretty decent Manir. Not anything perfect, but definitely something I would take. Alright, so those are the 2 easiest stages in the run, obviously. They're the first 2. Normally when I'm doing straight-up attempts at this game, I actually don't do it in this order, but for a marathon setting, this is a nice build-up to showing what the actual ridiculous stuff is, which is coming up right here. So if we go across our themes, first theme is kind of the tutorial. The second one is working with few blocks. Obelisk is RNG. That is actually the theme of the level.
All right.
So this level can kill me, and there might be nothing I can do about it. It's going to introduce a couple different types of blocks. The first one you're going to see is ice blocks. On an ice block, if I take a step, I'm going to keep sliding in that direction until I land on a non-ice block or fall off the edge to my doom. You see them right there on the far left. So if I hit left with Vincent right now, he would just run off to his death. See right here. Whee!
Sick showcase.
Okay, let's do this. Double push. Drop this down. If you guys are really heavy into watching Smash 4, you might have seen me play on stream a couple times. I actually use Catherine as my tag, and I've done it since EVO where it was there. That said, if you haven't seen me play on Turn Locator stream, please don't, because I got my butt handed to me every time I've been on stream. So. So those are bomb blocks. Those are absolutely evil. I'm going to go way out of my way to avoid these for a marathon safety. So you'll notice I can sidle around the side of a block, and it doesn't actually trigger the effect. If you step on a bomb block, it blows up after a couple seconds, and every block near it turns into a cracked block. So basically they're like the enemy for keeping structural integrity in the tower you're building. That's a mystery block. If I step on that, it's going to randomly turn into another type of block. Now, I don't know what kind it's going to turn into. It's totally random. So I have to treat it as every other kind of block at once until I step on it. They can be, oh, you turds, that's a monster block. That's what monster blocks do. They move on their own. And in that case, they troll the crap out of me by just making me go much slower. Again, RNG literally everywhere in this stage. Come on! Alright, let's do that.
Is it common to see this many popping up?
They're moving a lot faster than they normally do. Like, it'll always spawn this many of them, but they don't usually, like, they're usually more nice than this. On occasion, they'll actually help you, which is great. Just like, oh, okay, normally you just want to, like, don't move. If you step on that while it moves, I could actually fall into my death, which would have been lovely. Let's do this. That way I don't have to worry about... I was going to step on it over the gap, and that was not what I meant to do, but we'll work with it. Let's do this, to this, to this. Okay, I'm doing good. So I'm going to cross over here. In general, when you climb a tower, you're inherently going to be shrinking it a little bit, which means that the left tower is a little bit shorter than the right tower. So if I don't cross over at some point, I'm going to eventually run out of space. I'm going to cross over again here because I don't want to deal with the bomb block. Let's do this, I guess. Do that, and do that. Okay, so I'm going to cross over again up here at the top. Whee! Okay, so we're past that split tower section. That's one of the most dangerous sections in the level. Because, again, I can get stuck on a side that's way too short. You can see a little bit of that effect right here, where there's one side that's a lot short. Ooh, I just drop-kicked Catherine. Lovely. Of course, they put a heavy block right there. That was very kind of them. Don't. Get away. Get away. Okay. So, step off. Here we go. No bombs, no bombs, no bombs. Okay, cool. Alright, we are sitting good pretty here. I'm going to just drop down and do this somewhat safer. Alright. Need to relax a little bit. So I actually have to drop down here because that's an ice block. She's dead like that. I said, this game likes to be just absolutely evil. Whatever the worst thing that block can be is, it will always be that. Just did not want that thing moving around on me. So I recently discovered this trick the other day. Oh, I don't have to use it. Monster blocks, if you stand on the side of them, are supposed to boot you off, but you can actually step up on top of them if you immediately do that. So I don't like this. So Obelisk is especially trolly. Every other stage, as soon as you get to level 10, the very first drop will spawn the gate. Obelisk can actually go indefinitely without spawning the gate on you. They can just keep going and going. So you deal with all this other RNG, and then you've got this other little piece of RNG right at the end. So there we hear the bell, which means that the final gate has spawned. I did not get horribly trolled on the final bit, which is nice. Sometimes you can get this spawn, and it's just like, or get a spawn where you just look at it and go, okay, how am I supposed to actually get to the top of this? Let's go. Okay. Okay. We'll do this. Sure. We'll take it. Alright. Cool, we're past Obelisk. That's the scariest one, in my opinion, just because there's so much that's out of my control in that stage.
This is a surprise. I was actually quite fascinated.
Alright, so now we're moving into the last stage, which is Axis Mundi. So, again, to refresh, each stage has a theme. We have tutorial, we have Thin Tower, we have RNG, and the last one is just, we are going to give you Swiss cheese and you're going to have to find a way to climb it. There are so few blocks this one gives you. It introduces one new type of block, which is black holes. Black holes suck up any blocks that are on top of them. They also kill you if you step on them immediately. Yeah. So, this is probably the hardest stage to do really well. My PB / the world record for this run has a time on this last stage that is a minute faster than I've ever done it before. So, that 7:05 is a absolutely insane time. If I get in about the 9-minute range, it's usually a decent Axis Mundi. But for a long time, it was actually thought to be incompletable. Here, edges everywhere. So again, you can see like how this tower really is just not. Well, that's not helping things when you don't. There's just holes in the blocks everywhere. It's very hard to get sets of 3s. It's really meant to try to push your climbing skills to the test. Now, the reason that I started doing this on one-player 2 controllers, beyond the fact that, yes, it is just straight up faster to do this in pairs, is that the North American version of this game actually is glitched on this stage, and it makes it so that it's actually only a 25% chance for it to be completable or something like that. You have to get a specific pattern of drops, so you know almost immediately if you get it or not. But for a long time, it was actually thought to be incompletable. It turns out, but there is a glitch. So what happens is, when you go up your first couple steps, it'll immediately level up to level 3, and it'll never level up again. And the problem with that is that every time you level up, it resets the falling speed from the blocks below you. You don't really see it because I'm going very fast. But if you look below me, the blocks are actually falling out underneath me as I go. It's like kind of the opposite of Tetris. But if the level never resets, that means you have to actually be able to climb the tower faster than the block's maximum falling speed. And there's only one out of 4 patterns that will actually allow you to get that. That said, the glitch does like make it so that like once you start going, you'll get the same patterns as you go. But yeah, it's kind of crappy, and nobody. The Japanese version, for some reason, doesn't have that glitch, and there's a couple of theories for why that might be. When the game first came out in Japan, it was actually deemed to be too difficult. Go figure. So they actually released an easy patch for it. And the US version, of course, has that patch previously or like installed already. So. It's actually a really interesting game because it was actually made by some people that made the Persona games, which are RPG series that's very near and dear to my heart. They wanted its way of testing how to play with HD consoles before actually making like another like Persona 5 or something like that. So this was their way of getting that. Oh, okay, HD console experience. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that. Okay. Take that.
He's gone up 70 steps. New record. New record. New record.
So yeah, so they wanted to get that HD console experience, and this was their way of doing it. Interestingly enough, it's a relatively simple idea for a game, this climbing game. This stage lags like crazy because of the background in it. It's kind of bonkers. And makes me really wish there was a PC version, just because if you could get rid of that lag, it would be amazing. It'll cause double inputs on occasion, it'll drop inputs, it'll do basically everything you don't want something to do if you want to be able to complete it consistently. Alright, so we're at the halfway point now, so the tower's going to reset, and then it's going to give me basically the hardest sets of climbing patterns so far. Alright, so we're going up, doing good. Good. That. That, I suppose. So. Okay. Sure. We'll take it. Sometimes you have to come up with really weird solutions to things. Haven't had any ridiculously crazy moments in this so far, but I might be jinxing myself there. What do I got? Don't like this at all because these towers are now very different heights. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. I want to pull this out.
He's still alive and continues to climb Babel.
So do that. I've got to cross over here because, again, one side of the tower is much shorter than the other, so blocks will straight up just not spawn on that one side now. That's bad. Okay. Let's do... push that out, get these to fall. Okay. Still looking pretty good.
New record. New record. New record. New record. Now 100. New record. New record. New record.
Need to collapse this down.
New record.
So do that. I just don't want to deal with that. I don't want to accidentally step on that somehow and end up killing the run that way.
New record. New record. New record. New record. New record. New record. New record.
Are we finally going to witness a pair that can conquer Babel?
New record. New record. New record. New record. New record. New record.
All right, almost there.
New record.
Don't like that. It's going to push this away. Push that away. Pull this back. Pull you. Okay, so we got that.
New record. New record.
So if I get to the top of this, I should be in the clear. Okay. I think I'm okay.
New record.
This is actually a crazy time, by the way.
This long
New
journey is
record.
far
New
from
record.
to endurance.
New record.
We're
New
at
record.
160
New record.
steps.
New record. New record. New record.
All right, get ready on time.
New record.
And time.
Nice.
26-17. That would have been world record yesterday, or a couple days ago.
Wow.
And that's with a death. Actually, I might need to retime that from... Oh, no. I might need to retime that from the start because I technically could call that a reset when I died the first one.
It was right at about a 1 minute death.
Yeah, that might be a world record.
Wow.
I might have to retime that. Okay, so yeah,
All
that is...
memes aside, an actual new record.
So that's Catherine, Babel, 1 player, 2 stages. I gave myself the most try-hard of estimates and somehow still hit it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys sincerely enjoyed it. Oh my god. So like, look at that like leader like times right there. Those are my own PBs in order. I've gotten within that time, like 30 seconds that time once before on that last stage. That's ridiculous. All right.
Well, that was awesome. Once again, big shout-outs to Ghoul, again, main organizer of this event, and put on a sick run. Good warm-up.